Everyone talks about leaving the rat race like it's this beautiful liberation moment. Quit the job, sell your stuff, and find yourself. Nobody talks about what actually happens after. And I'm not here to sell you the fantasy version either. There's a whole group of people who quietly stepped off the corporate treadmill. No dramatic announcement, no viral LinkedIn post. One day they're climbing and then they're just not. Smaller house, fewer hours, older car. From the outside, it looks like they gave up. But here's what's actually happening inside their heads, because the science on this is genuinely fascinating. Your brain is literally wired to chase status. A 2019 Cornell University study found that getting promoted, getting a raise, and getting validated by someone important activates the same neural pathways as food, sex, and addictive substances. Basically, your job treats a job title upgrade like a hit of dopamine. And it's not as shallow as it seems. That's literally 300,000 years of evolution saying climb higher, earn more, secure the position in your tribe. Now, contrary to popular belief, modern capitalism didn't create the drive. It just built the perfect delivery system for it. Small wins, consistent feedback loops, visible metrics. You guys know what I'm talking about. Hit the target, get the bonus. Bonus funds the lifestyle upgrade. Lifestyle upgrade requires the next bonus. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill, and it keeps resetting your baseline for what enough actually feels like. So most people aren't actually brainwashed for staying in the race. Their brains are working exactly as designed. I did see a few comments in this other video here, and we're not all just brainwashed because we choose to stay in the 9 to 5. But here's where it gets a little more complicated, because stepping off that treadmill, it costs more than people admit. And I know it was a scary one for me. First, your identity collapses. Your job title has been your answer to what do you do for probably years, maybe decades. It's potentially even how you introduce yourself. It's how you measure yourself against old classmates. How you know if you're winning. A 2018 University of Michigan study found that career identity is so deeply embedded that losing it triggers the same neural patterns as grief. How crazy is that? So when you step off the ladder, you have to answer a question that most people never have to face. Who am I if I'm not climbing? Second, the social pressure is real. Your brain's wired to care of what the tribe thinks. When you downshift, people ask if you're okay, ask if you got fired, if you're having a crisis. Their concern could be genuine, but it's also an immune response. You've deviated from the script, and that makes other people uncomfortable. Research from Yale shows that people who make unconventional life choices face something called social comparison anxiety. You're at a dinner party. Someone asks what you're up to. You might say you're working part-time so you can slow down a bit. All of a sudden, the conversation gets a little weird because you just reminded everyone else that they made different choices. And maybe those choices aren't making them happy. Real quick before I keep going here, I pulled my analytics this week and I want to show you something. 93.3% of the people watching this video are not subscribed to this channel, which means most of you found what I'm doing, useful, or maybe you're into it, but YouTube has no idea. Subscribing is free and it takes 2 seconds, and it's genuinely the best way to tell YouTube's algorithm that this is worth pushing to more people. And maybe one day I'll make $1 a video off this or something. But seriously, if this kind of content is landing for you, please hit subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it means everything for a small channel like this. All right, back to it. Third, the financial fear doesn't leave, even when your actual money situation is stable. Studies from the Financial Psychology Center show that downshifters report higher anxiety about money. Makes sense if you think about it. Not because the numbers are bad, but because they've lost the upward trajectory that felt like safety. Like the climb wasn't just about income. It was proof that things were going in the right direction. And fourth, this one surprises most people, but some of them miss the stress. I've been there. When it's hard to relax sometimes when all you've known. Research on achievement motivation shows that high performers actually get addicted not just to the rewards, but to the challenge itself. The clear metrics, the competition, the adrenaline of the high stakes performances and doing better than your colleague. When you exit the race, you lose that structure. You lose the clarity and that sense of measurable progress. So the quiet exits aren't escaping into some blissful, stress-free paradise most of the time. Especially not unless you're retired. They're trading one set of problems for a completely different set. So to think that it's all sunshine and rainbows just isn't accurate. Here's where it turns. You'd think fewer hours, more autonomy, and less pressure, automatic happiness, right? some research shows exactly that. Oxford University found that people who prioritize time over money report higher life satisfaction. But a 2022 Stanford study followed downshifters for 5 years found something way more complicated. Yes, lower stress, better balance, but also existential anxiety. Because when you're in the race, your goals are handed to you. Make more money, get promoted, hit the targets. When you step back or you step off that treadmill, you have to decide what you're actually optimizing for. It's all on you. And most people have never asked themselves that question. And that's when some discover that maybe they were using career achievement to avoid deeper questions about meaning and purpose. For them, the race was a distraction from the fact that they didn't know what they actually wanted out of life. So when they exit, they don't find peace. They find themselves face to face with questions they've been running from. But here's what the people who push through that finally discover. The brain can actually be rewired. In 2023, a University of Pennsylvania study on neuroplasticity, that's like the gray matter stuff, found that with sustained effort, people can reshape their reward pathways. The things that used to light up the brains, status symbols, competitive wins, and all, the title upgrades, start producing less activation. And the things that barely registered before, like maybe time in nature, going for a nice long walk, even a deep conversation when you used to have no attention span, creative work, those start producing more. So you can literally rewire what feels rewarding. But it's not a decision you get to make once. It's a decision you have to make every single day. Every time you choose time over money. Every time you disappoint someone's expectations, maybe. And every time you resist the urge to check where you rank against people still racing. And it's not easy. That's fighting 300,000 years of evolutionary wiring. And that takes a very specific kind of courage. Here's what nobody tells you about the people who quietly exit the race. They're not just playing some easier game. They're playing a harder one. The race has clear rules, clear metrics, clear ways to know if you're actually winning. The life after the race, that's like more ambiguous. That's uncertain. And that's where you write the rule book yourself, which kind of sucks if you've never done it or been a manager of other people. You're learning to tolerate other people's judgment, to sit with financial anxiety without letting it actually drive every decision. Delayed gratification here comes into play, right? To face questions about meaning and purpose without running back to the safety of a job title because you don't have an identity outside of work. To rebuild your identity from scratch and not around what you do, but who you are. More research here on self-determination theory from the University of Rochester links that shift from external to internal measures of success with higher overall motivation and sustained well-being. And the crazy thing is that many of them actually report experiencing time differently. So when you race, time's the enemy. You try to hack and optimize and you never have enough of it. When you exit, the time becomes something else, a space to actually inhabit or be present in. People who made this shift report feeling more present in their own lives. They notice seasons changing. They notice different smells. They remember their weeks. They feel less like they're skimming across the surface of everything. So if you're somebody who's already stepped off or seriously thinking about it, your hesitation isn't weakness. It's awareness. Anxiety is real. The identity questions are real. The financial fear is real, but so is the other side of it. The people who stick it out through all of that, they tend to stop needing external proof that they're doing okay. They build something more internal instead, and that's not failure, that's evolution. So if this one hit close to home, my next video goes deep into the psychology of people who genuinely need very little to be happy. Worth watching if you're wired that way, or maybe if you're trying to get to that place. And if you're one of the 93% who watched all the way to the end without subscribing, now's a pretty good time. It's free, helps the channel, and honestly just tells YouTube you exist. See you in the next one, and let me know where you're thinking of heading if you're ready to leave the rat race.